Hola familia, it's Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. So today, as you guys can see from the title, I am redoing or doing 2.0 version of the blush palette that I did back in 2016, you guys. I did this whole entire tag 5 years ago at this point. Yes, 5 years ago. And I am redoing it today, but I'm also collaborating with the beautiful Jordana Vargas here on YouTube. I have collaborated with her in the past. She's one of my dear friends here on YouTube. She's amazing and she is a blush fanatic. Just like I am an eyeshadow enthusiast, she is a blush fanatic. She wanted to do this tag and wanted to do it alongside me. She asked me if I wanted to do it with her, and I thought it would be great because of two things. One, obviously I'm collaborating with somebody I absolutely love, and two, since I already did this in 2016, I was curious to see if my answers were any different than 5 years ago. Because my collection has been condensed, I have decluttered a lot, I don't buy as much as I used to. Are some of my preferences still the same, or have they changed? That's why I found it a lot more interesting to do this tag 5 years later to see what my answers may be. Jordana has never done this one specifically, and you guys, if you love blush, you should go check out her channel. Just as much as I love eyeshadow, that is her fascination, that is her enthusiasm, that is her love when it comes to blushes. And when I tell you she could pan a blush, she could pan a blush. Wow, I've never seen the bottom of a pan of a NARS blush, and yes, she has, of a MAC one. I mean, like, she has so much pan going on, and she loves her blushes. So if you do not know who Jordana is, I would highly recommend you go ahead and check her out. She's amazing. She's a lover of all makeup. She is a makeup artist by trade. That is what she does as a living. She also has a consultation I think it's a consultation business where she does fashion. So she is in the know. She knows what she's doing. She knows her stuff. I would highly recommend go ahead and check her out. She is gorgeous. She does a lot of project pans using your stash. She's trying to not purchase a lot, so she uses a lot of what she has, and she knows exactly what it is that she loves and doesn't love. So if you do not know who she is, I would highly recommend go ahead, check her out, tell her I sent you, and we're gonna go ahead and get into the 14 questions. Now, Jordana added 2 more questions that were not originally in the tag. So in total, we're gonna have 16 questions that or 16 categories, I should say, that we are gonna talk about with the blushes. So let me go ahead and get started. This is gonna take a lot longer if I talk too much, so I'm gonna try not to talk too much and just get into it. If you're new to my channel, welcome to the familia. My name is Alejandra. I'm an eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash of project pan. If that is something that interests you, subscribe, join us. And now, without further ado, let's get on with this tag. Now, I do have my basket here full of blushes. I'm going to make this quick and painless as possible because I do not want to linger on these. I could talk about eyeshadow till I die. Blush is not my favorite thing. I only got into blush when I started my YouTube channel, but before I only had like one blush and that was the end of that. And even sometimes I didn't even wear it, to be honest with you guys. But I have since enjoyed a good blush, so I do have a nice variety in my collection. Not as big as I did in 2016, so let's see how my answers are going to be to these categories. First one is best packaging. Now, obviously things have changed in my collection, so this one just recently came into my collection as a gift from my friend Drea, and I gotta say this is the best packaging I have so far. That's the Lise Watier Haute Nature blush. Lise Watier, if you do not know about her, it is a Canadian brand, and let me tell you, if she was sold in stores in the US, I'd be broke, because that's the one of the very, and I mean very, very few brands that I fall for packaging. I am not somebody who falls for packaging at all, but she gets me every time. And look, this is gorgeous. Look at the packaging of this. It is just pretty. Every season she comes out with a beautiful collection, new packaging, and this is not the only thing I own from Lise Watier. Even the inside just makes you feel bougie. And it's not even that expensive, you guys. It's probably a mid-grade type of pricing. Amazing. I would definitely say this one, as of now, is the best one in my collection for packaging. Best packaging for my original tag was the Too Faced Sweetheart blushes, which I still feel like those packagings are really nice, but now I consider them to be bulky, so I still own them. It's just I consider them now to be bulkier than the Prettiest packaging. The Prettiest Color, for me, I gotta say, is Melon Pop by Clinique. These type of shades They're a little bit lighter, not as deep, really give me that angelic flush to my cheeks. I'm not wearing it today, but it's gorgeous. It's such a pretty shade. I can't, if I swatch this, you're not going to really see it because it's a gelée formula, but it is beautiful. If you own this one, you know what I'm talking about. It shocked me because I didn't think this one would be as bright on my cheeks or even show up because it's more of a white base, but it's so pretty, and with a tan, I love it. Back in 2016, the prettiest color I chose was Luminoso. I still own it. It is still in this video, but in a different category. I still love it. I still would enjoy it, but I think that this formula I kind of like more, and that's why I stuck to this one this time around. Most pigmented has to go to Becca Lantana. Look at this. You guys, I have to swatch this because you guys, I'm barely touching it, and look at this. This is my most pigmented blush I own. I had quite a few of these in my collection. Since then, I have decluttered them, but I've kept this one because I love the formula of it. It's beautiful, and this is gonna last me forever because I am rubbing it out, and look how deep that is. If you have deep dark skin tone, this would be amazing on you. And since Becca is leaving, if you could still find this one, I would highly recommend it. It's very, very pigmented. Back in 2016, I said that the e.l.f. Blush Quad was the most pigmented in my collection. Since then, that one has left my collection. I just never cared for the shades. It was more of a pinky tone kind of thing. I have since found a lot more pigmented blushes since then. So I don't know what made me think that. I guess at the time it was, but for me, as of now, that isn't the most pigmented. I gotta say, this is definitely the most pigmented. For my everyday blush, nowadays I probably would choose this one. This one is MAC Harmony. This one just really goes with everything. And this one is in my Shop My Style. As you guys can see, I've been using this one quite a bit. It's just a pretty brown that looks so nice on my skin tone, even if I have a tan or I don't have a tan. So I would choose this one nowadays. 2016, I actually chose Tarte Exposed and Becca Wild Honey. I still love both of them, but Exposed is more of a pinky tone, and I'm like, about pink tones nowadays. And then as far as Wild Honey, I still would love it, but I would prefer that more in the summer because it works better for me in the summer than it does the winter time. This one would work all year round for me. The next one that I have is a party blush. Now, I had to think about this one because obviously I haven't been partying ever. It's been so long since I've actually had a gathering or a party. But I would actually choose the Laura Geller Tropic Hues. This one reminds me of a party. I think of outdoors, having fun, enjoying the sun. Like, this looks like a party. It's all pretty and party. So I would definitely say the Tropic Hues one, and it looks beautiful on the cheek and it lasts. If I were at a party, this formula would last on my cheek. What I chose in 2016 was Tarte Splendor. That one was a mini size and it had like sparkle to it. I have since decluttered that one, so I no longer own it, but that's why I chose that one because it looked like a party in a pan. This one kind of looks like a party in a pan too, but I would actually use that in a party too. Here's an interesting one. To be honest with you guys, I wrote down what I said in 2016 and then forgot about it, and then I pulled out the blushes that I would choose for current. And for the next category, it's regret purchasing. Today, I don't regret. I don't have any blushes that I own that I regret purchasing because I've narrowed it down so much. I just looked at my answer for 2016 and I had the same exact answer. So back then, I didn't regret any of them because I was purchasing them. But if I look back, I look at that collection that I used to have, and there's a lot of regrets that I would have had. But again, my tastes have changed. So as of right now, because I don't buy blushes, I really don't. And the ones that I have been here with ruthless declutter. I mean, it was a ruthless declutter 2 years ago, my blushes. And if these are still here, it's for a reason. So I don't regret any that I own right now. If I were to choose one, it would be one from PR that really doesn't suit me. Like the one that I recently got from Stylevana, the little cute packaging one, that one would be a regret if I did buy it because it doesn't show up on my skin. But there's not one that I've actually spent the money on that I regret purchasing. My least used blush has to go to MAC Trace Gold. This one is something that's a topper. It's not so much one that I can use on its own. If you have deep dark skin tone, this would be amazing on you. I personally like to use this one in the summer topped over like something like this one, like the MAC Harmony, and I place this on top. It gives you the luminous glow with a gold undertone to it. But this is my least used one because it's more of a topper, and I don't purchase a lot of toppers. This is just one that I own because I love the color and I love how shows up on my skin in the summer. Back in the day in 2016, the one that I said was my least used was the Sephora Pantone Orchid palette, the Orchid shade in it. I have since then decluttered that one. I no longer own it. Back in the day, they used to do color, you know, like the color collections in Sephora during the Pantone shades, and the Orchid was that year, and I did purchase that one because I missed the one from the previous year that I was upset about that I didn't get, and I never used the Orchid one, so that's the one that I least use, and since then it has been gone. Most used, would never let go of, and that has to go to Luminoso. That one moved a different category from last year. This one, again, you guys can clear, this is the OG one. Now, I do plan on panning this. I wanted to pan it this year. I'm just waiting for the summer to get here to really use it this summer, but I am planning on panning it. I have to get over it, and I have gotten over it. It's just I'm getting myself to it. But this is my most loved, the one that I will not let go of until I use it up. And I'm curious, before I use this one up, to try the newer version to see how different it is, because this is really my oldest blush I own, and it still works perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, this one I would say the one I would never let go. And obviously I haven't let it go. If 5 years from that video it was featured then and it's being featured now, that's just saying how old I have it, and it's older than that. My most used back then was the Rimmel number 18 Pink Sorbet. That one I really loved. I regret letting go of that one. I should have used that one up. It was beautiful. I had used that one all the way down to where you couldn't see the imprint of the Rimmel. It was a beautiful shade. The other one that I did mention was Sleek Antique. That was another one that I used a ton. You could see the wear and tear on that one. That was very unique. But since then, my color tones have changed. So I said both of them. The one that I would have kept was the Pink Sorbet. The Sleek one I don't regret letting go of. But those were my most used then, and I know they were my most used. Favorite blush brand now I would say is NARS. I feel like their formula works amazing for me all year round, whether I am a little bit more drier or a little bit more oily. They last all day. The formula is amazing. I love the finishes. The color variation is ridiculously awesome. You can find any shade you want and any skin tone, undertone for whoever you want, and they do last a very, very long time, so it is worth the money. It's like an investment. These for me to pan would take me years. Unlike Jordana, she can pan those in her sleep. I cannot. But I would say definitely NARS would be my favorite brand. And back in the day, I said Tarte. I still love Tarte, and I still feel like they would be good for me, but I feel like I've loved NARS a little bit more. Nowadays, I love NARS a little bit more than I do my Tarte blushes. My greatest blush discovery of last year. Now, you guys know I do not buy blushes, so this one was actually my favorite discovery, but it was a gift. This was given to me by Lisa, and I would have never purchased this on my own. This is the Almay Healthy Hue Blush in Nearly Nude. I gotta say, this is the best one that I've gotten since last year. This, you could see how much I've used of it already. It's beautiful. It's a gelée formula, but it looks amazing on my skin. It gives me a nice sheen. It's a nude where it goes with every single thing that I own, but it's gorgeous. I really like this one a ton. I would definitely say this is my best discovery of last year. Now in 2016, I said the Annabelle blushes. The Annabelle blushes were my favorite ones. Since then, I have decluttered all of them, and I've actually found better formulas on the market since those. So I don't think they would be my favorite now if I were to choose those or still own them till this day. Most practical goes to my Nude Pop from Clinique. Obviously, you can tell why it would be my most practical because it's just a neutral nude. It would go with everything. I have so many of these shades in my collection, but I do like these kinds because sometimes you just don't want to think about it. You don't want it to compete with your eye look, and that's my thing. I do such bold eye looks all the time. Right now I'm wearing both bold ways. I don't care. I'll do both if I want to. But I would need a neutral blush, and this is where my neutral blushes would definitely chime in. So this one I would say is my most practical. And back in the day, I said MAC. I just said MAC in general was my most practical, I guess. I didn't put down which MAC one I said, but MAC would be my most practical, I guess. Least practical for me would be this one. This is my Moonplay Cosmetics Stroboscope Hyper Fashion Pigment in Honeymoon. Now this is a blush, but it's a pigment. So for me, this isn't practical because it is a pigment. I'll make a mess if I open it up. But you can see it's gorgeous, and you can mix this with anything. With your powders, you can mix it with your lip products, a cream product. This is a very versatile product. And I've never really spoken too much about Moonplay, but I think they have really great products. I own all of their products that they currently have on the market, even a few of their brushes, and they're awesome. But this would be my least practical because it's in a jar. It's a little bit messy, so I really have to be in the mood and have the time for this blush. Least practical for back in the day was my NYX Baked Blushes. I remember those. I have since decluttered them. And yeah, you had to really jive in there to get any pigmentation out of them. So I'm kind of glad I got rid of those, to be honest with you. My most expensive, Chanel. You guys, still to this day, Chanel is my most expensive blush. I don't think I've paid more than the 40-some dollars that these are, and I only own 3 at this point, and I love every single one of those shades. I love them. My most expensive back in the day was also my Chanel blushes, so that has not changed. I haven't gotten any more bougier, I guess. My least expensive right now would be this one. This one I got this year for free. I did not pay anything for this one. This was the ColourPop Fashion District powder blush. This is my one and only blush from ColourPop. I don't own any, and this was for free, so I really didn't have a choice, to be honest with you. So, but I do like the color. I did choose the color, so I do like the color, but I would say that my least expensive would be this one because I didn't pay a dime for it. My least expensive back in the day, I had 2, was the Essence Silky Touch and the Jordana blushes. Both of them have since left my collection. I found better, and I feel like I've reached for other ones more than those, so I have since gotten rid of those. Last 2 categories are new ones for this year, so I'm gonna go through them real quick. The first one is the most unique one in my collection. I feel like my most unique one would be this one. This is the Laura Geller Sunswept. It's the actual color that is more unique to me because it's like a pinky, but it's also bronzy, and it has this really nice formula to it. It looks like it's a glisten, but it's so beautiful on the cheeks. Sunswept is summer in a blush for me. It's not coral, but it's not pink. It's like this gorgeous shade. Those that own it know what I'm talking about. It's just magic. Magic in a baked container. It's gorgeous. My most unique one, I would say, is this one. And then one that I would bring back that is limited edition, that was limited edition or that is no longer available, I would say is MAC Tenderling. This one is beautiful. I feel like this one, the closest that you could find to it is the Lorac. Forget what it's called. I'll put it up on the screen, but it's very similar to this one, and I haven't found anything since. This is beautiful. It's a little bit lighter for me in the summer, but in the wintertime, it's gorgeous. I actually had a few people message me back in the day wanting to purchase this one off my hands because it was discontinued. And I feel like this has a place on the market. I don't know if they've replaced this specific shade with another one, but I feel like Tenderling should be one that they should bring it back, I think. It's really pretty, and it is different. I don't have many of this type of shade in my collection. I either have a lot of warmer browns or a lot of reddish browns or orangey browns in my collection. Not so much white-based browns. All right, you guys, that's it. I hope you guys, I didn't drag this along. I tried to go as fast as possible. These are all of my answers from current and then back in the day in 2016. And my collection has changed tremendously. My likes and dislikes have changed tremendously. And since I do not buy a lot of blushes, if any at all, the ones that are new to my collections are ones that have been gifted to me. So my preferences are probably gonna stick to what I have because I like what I have. I don't need to purchase anything else. They're all the same to me. They all do the same purpose on your face. So why get a bunch of oranges? I'm good. I'll be good. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Jordana for joining me on this tag video. Don't forget to check her out. I cannot wait to see her answers. Thank you again for all of your support. I'll put no more videos over here for your enjoyment. Until then, adios.